Shalom, all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect. Bahashem Chakodash, my name is Jacobo from Plaintables Camp, and this is the apostle reviewing We Woke Now. Tucker Carlson did not want you to see this interview. I mean, no, he talks about this stuff, so I don't know what he said beyond a few seconds I've watched about the DNA test and all that stuff. Tucker Carlson, some people say that he's a CIA plant, that he went to basically his next job, which was to be to gather a social media following from, I believe he's on Fox or MSNBC. I think he's on Fox. So this was just his next job, to galvanize people on social media, to be a big voice of social media. So that could be true or not. But he said something about DNA testing the real Israelites, the real sons of Abraham, which they are not all sons. It's just Jacob, not Esau, and not Ishmael. It was technically his grandchildren, actually, from Abraham to Jacob and Esau. But let's listen in. Tucker Carlson did not want you to see this interview. See what else that he says beyond the DNA test thing, which you don't have to have a DNA test. It's about faith. Yahweh Shai is gonna, the angels are gonna divide the true Israelites from the heathen.
Abram's descendants are the ones who have the right to have this land, correct? Correct. Yes.
Well, his name was changed to Abraham. All right. Which I believe one was father of many, and the other was exalted father. I think exalted father was first, and then father of many was second. Abraham. You can fact check that. Abraham. You can fact check that.
Okay. Why don't we do genetic testing on everybody in the land and find out who Abram's descendants are?
Got to stop that again. You need a sample. You need a sample. You can't test an Edomite, a Amalekite, or a Temanite, and then start that as a sample pool. You would have to sample so-called Black Americans or Caribbeans or Latinos from North, Central, South America to get the correct sample pool. So that ain't going to work, because they're going to do the wrong sample pool to begin with. They're going to go straight to maybe a dark-skinned Edomite. And they might get Israelite DNA in there, or Arab DNA. So, yeah, I don't trust the, well, you can't trust it, because even if it's on your mother's side, the DNA is going to be whatever, Judah and Ephraim's DNA is. It's going to be in there. So I don't know if there's a difference between, paternal and maternal, if the blood test is different, if it shows up different.
It's really simple. We've cracked the human genome, we can do that. We've cracked the human genome, we've cracked the human genome, we can do that. As for the Nazi thing, I really felt like we were just speaking so far past each other that we would never come to, it's like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. And especially when I decided or concluded that he really meant it, I was like, that's just too freaking weird to me. It's almost like, I can think of many other examples where you're interviewing someone else, say something that's like, I was interviewing a guy one time and he started talking about the Black Israelites and we're the real Jews. And I was like, and it wasn't on camera, but I was like, it was so far out to me that I was like, we'll never kind of understand common terms on that.
This is interesting. Very, very interesting. You just heard Tucker Carlson say, quote, I was interviewing a guy one time and he started talking about the Black Israelites and we're the real Jews. And I was like, it wasn't on camera, but I was like, that was so far out to me that I was like, we'll never kind of understand common terms on that. Who was he referring to in that clip you just watched? Initially, I believed Tucker Carlson was referring to the leaked footage from his interview with Ye, but I later realized I was mistaken. I want to thank everyone who forwarded me the actual footage from an off-camera interaction he had with a Hebrew Israelite camp known as GMS, which is based in New York City.
Oh, I remember this. This is on 34th or 7th, and Tucker Carlson came past looking all acting ignorant, like he didn't know who the apostles were. I think they were elders at the time before they upgraded to their natural position. And he had how he had that bizarre. I think he had that bizarre look, that confused look that Tucker makes. I think he had that look on his face when he walked up to the apostles.
Before I continue, I want to make something clear. Not all Hebrew Israelites are part of or affiliated with any camp. Being a Hebrew Israelite is not a religion, unlike what is commonly described.
Well, it is a religion, but it's not a religion in the sense of anybody can join. You have to be an Israelite by birth to actually join. So it's a race dedication.
Described as being a so-called Jew, a Hebrew Israelite refers to bloodline descendants of the ancient Israelites. The label Black Hebrew Israelites functions much like the label Black Identity Extremists.
I would like to ask Mr. Chair unanimous consent to enter this report into the record, which is Black identity extremists likely motivated to target law enforcement officers. I believe earlier you said you were not familiar with the report. Is that correct?
Well, I haven't read it. I know some of the alleged targeting of officers.
I remember this. I don't know if the apostles spoke about this, but I do remember this from a few years ago, I think. I think is that the mayor of California? No, the mayor of Los Angeles? Is that the mayor? Does it say? I think it's the mayor of Los Angeles. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, so I would like to know, and I'll ask you about that in a minute. So you are somewhat familiar with it. Who had the power in your department to order a report like this?
I'm not sure how that report got ordered. I don't believe I explicitly approved it or directed it.
Okay, so you're...
Yeah, black. See, that's the thing, and that's the label that they put on us. So they can just identify us by social security number. I mean, because we don't identify as black. Well, ISUPK, they identify as black because it's something that the normal fool nigga with his pants hanging off his ass can understand. A lot of our people are really effing stupid. Yeah, black. They can identify with that. And they're extremely offended when you call them stupid, also. I've been noticing that because they can't get right. And most of them won't get right. So therefore you will be labeled stupid. And we'll just move on. Now, you have a lot of crazy people that get involved in different groups, including some in Great Millstone. So, and this is why we have a high barrier to entry, because we know our people are crazy as hell. All right. And they're stupid. So we can't just let anybody come into our midst and break bread with us. All right. We rather observe you for a while and check your intelligence, meaning your power to choose and critical thinking, etc., and then let you in. But we don't need, with the apostle, a meat bag, holding a sign. You can just go on about your business and stand in the audience and listen. We don't need these a large number of people. Yahushua said that the Lord's sanctuary is small. His sanctuary is little. So we don't need. And the thing is, our faith is and our power are going to increase so much that we're going to have the power that the Yahushua had. We don't need 10,000 men on a corner. All right. Yahushua going to raise the number up when the scriptures say that people shall be willing and they have that power. All right. We can have 40 people. We got 20 people. All right. It's a seed. The seed is going to grow and the elect will come in. We don't need degenerates in our camps, in our groups. If you can't get right, then you can get the fuck on.
Not, you haven't necessarily read the report, but you are familiar with the term black identity extremists?
Well, I think so, yes.
So can you tell me what that term means to you? Do you believe that there is a movement of African Americans that identify themselves as black identity extremists, and what does that movement do?
Well, it'd be interesting to see the conclusions of that report, but I'm aware that there are groups that do have an extraordinary commitment to their racial identity, and some have...
Yeah, like the Small Hats in 1948. So is there anything wrong with that?
Transformed themselves even into violent activists.
Are you aware of white organizations that do this as well? Given that white...
Watch this guy, he all of a sudden, he don't know what that's all about. I show you that this is a racist society, a racist system.
White supremacy is well-documented, well-researched movements such as the neo-Nazis, the Ku Klux Klan, etc. Are they white identity extremists?
I didn't follow that question. Please again.
Is there a term or a...
Bunch of devils. They get mad when we call them devils. This is a devil doing what he do, being the devil.
Report on white identity extremists. You mentioned you were familiar with black people who identify with their racial identity.
Yes, but it's not coming to me at this moment.
Not coming to you?
I can't think of a case. What's the black white identity? I can't think of it. I'm sorry, I can't think of nothing. You mean to tell me you can't think of the KKK, neo-Nazi party, Aryan race, white identity, which they claim to be Israelites, which is featured in the Megiddo. What is it? The Megiddo, Project Megiddo. Project Megiddo came out in 1999.
Right, because Esau don't have a religion that he's proud of. So he got to co-opt the Bible and try to put himself within the Bible. They don't have a religion that they could. Well, they got Satanism and that Quaz God and the Canaanite gods, but that's not their God. What Quaz I believe is, but they have to steal other people's culture and identity, even the wicked parts, to have something of their own, because they can't come out with Satanism directly, at least not yet. They're working on it though. They're working on coming out with Satanism directly. And Trump he might be the one to do it. He might be. I can definitely see now that some wild things are going to happen. I can see them actually doing the inverse or the opposite, saying, "Oh yeah, we know about the 12 tribes of Israel that they teach," and then they might say, "Oh, it's not true. Yeah, we've been investigating." I can see them actually coming out and publicly saying that now. I don't know if they will, but it was a time when I couldn't see that. But I can see how, because I can see how the wicked the Trump regime is, the Edomite regime in America is. I can see them just putting the information out there just so they can galvanize more hatred against us, or because they want to have some fun, or the demons telling them to do it. I can seeing them doing that now because they say these wild, crazy things. So I'm like, well, they can just say something crazy like tell the truth. I can see it now. I couldn't see that years ago. And then this, like the apostle said, this devil. Look at this devil, this old decrepit bastard.
And it mentioned the so-called black Hebrew Israelites, and it also mentioned the white identity movement. The reason why they met the Project Megiddo mentioned those two groups, because both of those groups say that their line goes back to the Israelites, which includes, like I said, the white identity movement. When it says white identity movement, that means they're identifying itself with. Do the research. Don't take my word for it. Never take my word for it. Always do the research. Become researchers, okay? They say that their line goes back, like, for example, they might say the white Europeans in England are the tribe of Manasseh. The Europeans in America are the tribe of Dan, or whatever the case may be. Now, some of them, mind you, are Israelites.
But the thing is, well, how a bunch of race of devils going to be the Israelites? A race of devils going to conquer the conquest of paradise, Western Hemisphere, mass murder a bunch of people, and do all sorts of demonic evil things to the natives and to the people they picked up in West Africa, and they're supposed to be the Israelites. Now, the things they did that to actually are and were the Israelites, the actual biblical Israelites, us. But he don't remember. He got selective memory.
to tell them that, you know?
It's
Certainly a group such as the Ku Klux Klan.
yes, and then the skinhead movements, but there's a racial identity white movements that have been identified for
So
sure.
has the FBI done a report on white identity extremists that are likely motivated to target law enforcement officers? Is there such
I'm not aware of that.
Both are strawman terms that have been promoted through government agencies and amplified by religious institutions such as Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, and Islam, along with advocacy.
When the time comes, look, Yahweh Shai, we're going to increase our strength, and we're going to put to shame all of these half-truths. All right, I'm going to tell you the whole truth is going to be broadcast with a stronger voice by the will of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. But who the 12 tribes are, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. Right now, you got like a lot of these people that promote on YouTube. Well, Judah has the strongest voice. The other tribes, their voices are very, from my social media standpoint anyway, from what I can see, the other tribes' voices are very weak or non-existent on the 12 tribes of Israel. Judah is kind of just taking the lead on propagating the word, and many of them don't talk about the other tribes, right? So our job, how we've been doing it, we had the 12 tribe sign out there. So I'm gonna let you. You can watch the Apostles video. It's 41 minutes. What is the 666 Mark II? And I had this precept to leave you with. Matthew 25:32. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats, and he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world, meaning predestination. You were on a track that you could not break, whether it had been riches, poverty, stupidity, wisdom, and knowledge and understanding. You were on a track that you could not break. Yahweh Shai created, as it is written, the author and finisher of our faith. The mere fact that the word prophecy exists and it has come to pass and will come to pass proves predestination. All right. Separate them one from another as the sheep divideth, as the shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. All right. You go down here. It says, let's talk about the Good Samaritan, I believe. When I was hungry, you gave me food. When I was thirsty, you helped me. All right. And the Good Samaritan is a representation of, Israelites helping other Israelites. And because the Good Samaritan is going to be saved. All right. Or a foreigner helping an Israelite foreigner. All right. When I say foreigner, I'm immediately referring to Israelites. All right. And then you're going to have some that are not of the circumcision. All right. Which are of the uncircumcised Israelites that are going to help us. All right. And it's a parable about unlikely aid to help the prophets, to help the Israelites. Unlikely aid. All right. Now, you never thought this person was there on your corner and he had your back. The guy that you thought was a problem might be the guy to have your back. The guy that always got some smart shit to say. He or she might have your back. All right. Other Israelites. All right. And you're going to have, people, the heathens too. They're going to help you too. But they're not going to be saved. All right. 100% of them will not be saved. All right. Now, if they are saved, they'll be saved, for the service. All right. Yeah, and if they're in our house, we're gonna treat them real good because you can't be around the unclean things. We're gonna be perfect. So there'll be a servant. Well, you're gonna have house heathens and you're gonna have field heathens. You have heathens set up for punishment. All right, everything in its order. So we'll leave that there. It's the Apostles video. We're gonna give them back double what they gave to us. All right, and every nation is going to be treated according to their sins. All right, where are we at? Tucker Carlson did not want you to see this interview 1 day ago. Shalom.